Robin Forster with Feel So Alive and Feel So Alive Informed. And welcome and thank you for joining us today, either live or on the replay. I may be looking off to the side or down at my notes because I have some notes so I can follow and stay on track, because I value your time and I appreciate you spending some of your precious time with us. So I want to make sure we move through this program quickly and efficiently without getting too lost or sidetracked. If you're the first time joining us, you're in for a treat. I have picked two very special guests that will be very fun for you. I think that you're going to enjoy both of them. But first, let me give you a little lay of the land of how this is going to work. Oh, our guest speakers today are Jessica G. and Denise Wakeman, and they are going to be a treat for you. Jessica G. is a weightlifter, and Denise Wakeman has been online for over 20 years. When she first started, when there was a dial-up. But let's move on with the program. And let me tell you a little bit about how this program runs so that you'll know. We start with a guest, and that guest usually shares for about 10 minutes or so. And I have videotaped everyone or Zoom interviews because we all know that the electronics are a little wonky, and I'm just trying to cut down all the technical issues that I possibly can, because there's always something interesting. So first we have our guest, and that's about 10 minutes, and then we have a hosted health tips, because I am Feel So Alive and we're hosting this program, so a little bit on staying healthy. And then our second guest for about 10 minutes ish, and then upcoming dates and contact information if you want to find out more, or make sure that you have subscribed so that you don't miss any of our programs. And before we begin, we all know that the world is a little wonky, to put it nicely. And so what's important to me is that we give back in some way. And one of the ways that I think we can do it best during this program is just to do 30 seconds of silence. And this can be, everyone is really different. So it can be a prayer, it can be a blessing, it can be white light. Whatever it is for you, that we can send some good juice out to the world, because we're thinking about the people in it. There's a lot of sorrow and grieving right now. Also, we're thinking about the animals, and we're thinking about the earth, and of course the people. So let's go ahead, and you can lower your gaze, close your eyes, whatever is safe and whatever you feel comfortable with. And we'll just do it for 30 seconds. And I have a timer on the screen, make it much easier. Thank you for joining us in this pause. And our first speaker is Jessica G. of G Strength Weightlifting. And thank you all very much for pausing with me. I appreciate that. And Jessica has been, she's pivoted, and she's going to tell you more about this, from massage therapy to meeting her lifting students, both beginning and advanced students, right where they are, using more mindfulness practices in her weightlifting training. So let's go ahead and hear from Jessica. Hi, I'm Robin Forster with Feel So Alive, and my guest today, even though it says Jessica's iPad, this is really Jessica G. So Jessica, yeah, if you'd wave and say hi. And I'm really excited to have Jessica here because, as you all know, I'm into body work and taking care of our bodies. And Jessica was my coach for a while with weightlifting, which was super fun. I just learned so much about it. And so I was very excited when she agreed to come and share with us. Yeah, it's very fun. So a little bit about Jessica. She has worked as a massage therapist for over 16 years, and as well as a holistic health coach. She currently coaches Olympic-style weightlifting and mindfulness in weightlifting, which I can't wait to get into that because that's going to be really exciting. But before we get into that, oh, and I'm looking off to the side because I'm looking at my notes, just so y'all know. So, Jessica, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so you covered several things, but I did start out as a massage therapist, which I actually just let go of that completely back in like February of last year, 2020, pre-COVID, right? I was like, I would have lost it anyways. It's gone now. So I got into weightlifting coaching. I started doing a little bit of it about 10, 11 years, just a little tiny bit of it on the side. And then almost 10 years ago, I started coaching out at Eugene CrossFit for CrossFitters. And then it progressed that then I started kind of just building up on that. I started doing networking stuff with people like you. And so I started kind of venturing into kind of coaching everyone. And so it was a slow transition. And then now I'm still out at Eugene CrossFit, but I actually just rent the space from them and I coach my own people. And it's mostly is people that want to just weightlift, whatever their other motives are, whether they want to compete or not, but it's more just about the weightlifting. And I competed in the sport of weightlifting for about 15 years myself. So I have a little experience on the other side of it as well as the weightlifter. These days I don't compete anymore, but I just get to have the joys of coaching my people. And like you mentioned, I just been bringing in more of the mindfulness. That's always been a big piece that I've liked to share with people. So I'm kind of transitioning away from doing the holistic health coaching and more into like holistic mindfulness weightlifting coaching with all of that. So it's kind of a more embodied experience. So of embodying that mindfulness and bringing that into the lifters I have that are my lifters. And I also want to share that with people that aren't my lifters, whether they're weightlifters or CrossFitters or obviously everyone can benefit from mindfulness, whatever they're doing, even if it's just going for a walk. I know there's a lot of books on that kind of stuff, the like mindfulness walking, but I find that very helpful. And I see how much it's helped me personally. So that's why I'm so drawn to share that with others.
Oh, excellent. I mean, that seems unusual for weightlifting, and yet it makes so much sense. I
Yeah,
mean, just thinking about how, you would talk to me about the bar and lifting and positioning my body, and that's really all about being very mindful.
right. It's
Yeah,
definitely it's like, it's already incorporated into the sport so much and yet not really talked about, which I find so fascinating. And I used to always joke that we need psychiatrists for weightlifters. And so I'm like, but maybe not quite as well. We might still, but maybe for other reasons. But it's like, I really was thinking that, yeah, if we just really embrace that mindfulness aspect, and when we are, like you said, when you bring that in and allow more of that, how much more fluid it goes, just like with anything in life.
exactly. Well, and it seems like part of that mindfulness is slowing down enough to actually feel what's going on. So, I'm finding as I'm aging, my body is talking to me a lot more than it used to. And
Yeah,
some of the things I used to be able to get away with, not so much anymore. And so that mindfulness is even becoming more important about, well, which muscle am I using? Is that a strong muscle? Or is
mm-hmm.
that actually weak and it needs to be strengthened? Or I won't be able to go kayak this summer if I don't
Right.
strengthen those muscles.
Yeah, absolutely. So it takes definitely, like you said, like that actually tuning in with your body and not just presuming. Sometimes we think, oh, that doesn't feel good, I need to strengthen that. Well, if you tune in, maybe it's not that you need to strengthen it. Maybe it needs actually needs some rest or something else.
Oh,
So
good point. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so to the next question, you talked a little bit about this. How did you get drawn into this line of work, and how have you seen it benefit others?
So, interestingly, I actually wrote a blog about this just like a week ago. So it's kind of, I made me laugh when I was reading over the questions that you're going to ask. I'm like, oh, I just like really like sunk into the real draw of this, because it's easy to just say, oh yeah, I got into it, blah, blah, blah. But when I was about 20, originally, I got into weightlifting at the gym in Crestwell, doing it with my brother. And so that was a like kind of a bond we had. And then about a year later, he kind of fell away from doing it. And I went through a divorce at that point. I was only about 21. And so after that was done, I went back into weightlifting. And it was a very receptive group. And Ironworks is no longer there, but the group that was there when I was there, it was a super, super special group of people, and they were just amazing. So they were very welcoming at a time of my life when I felt like there was nothing grounding me. So that having the weightlifting with the people, with the community, the combination for me was extremely impactful for my young adult life. And I've also seen it with the coaches that were down there and the people that were down there. So I got to feel it really firsthand for myself of the impact that it was able to have on my life, and me able to really ground in and become the human I am. And then also I got to being in it for so long, I saw a lot of other people that really benefited too, that became an anchor for them, whether it was long-term like me or even short-term, some people that just kind of came through, but you could see that it did something for them. It shifted them, having that support, having that coaching. And so as I got myself more anchored internally, I became really drawn to want to share that with others. I'd felt that impact. And so I was really drawn, and I'd met the owner of Eugene CrossFit. He'd actually come and lifted with us for a while. So that felt like an open door to contact him. I'd had a couple like one-on-one clients here and there, but I really like the group atmosphere. And I feel like that's where you really experience the that community aspect that I am so fond of. And I know you got to experience that and feel it yourself. So I think you can relate with that. And so I just kind of started. I didn't necessarily know when I started that it was going to be what I did for a living, but I knew that I wanted to share that with people. So it started out as a very small thing, and that I enjoyed, and I was able to see people, kind of grow on their own in it, and have relationships with each other. And it's always been kind of a sport that, I don't want to say it draws in awkward people, but it draws in, it's not necessarily your normal gym crowd that gets drawn into it. So I love watching the aspects of people of all different ages, of all different walks of life come together into an area. And I really believe, and I've witnessed this, of people, it calms down the opposing things, because you have a common ground and you like this person, and it opens up doors for people to just be themselves with somebody that they wouldn't normally be themselves with. And that is one of the things that I love about it so much, is to watch that and to just see people just like have synchronicities that you would never ever imagine. And that is one of my favorite things. So I know that weightlifting isn't going to be that piece for everybody. Obviously, everyone has to find their own thing, but I know there is a group of people that will find it through weightlifting. And I know that I can hold that space for some of those people. So that's what really is my draw, and how I got all into that.
Well, thinking back on when I was lifting with your groups, and what you're saying was really true. I don't know if I was really aware of it at the time, but But everybody in the group, kind of no matter which group you came to, they were all supportive. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, they all wanted you to be able to do whatever it was that you were trying to do, or your new personal best, or whatever. And it wasn't a competition thing of, you know, I can lift a bazillion pounds, you can't. There was never any of that. It was just like, good job, you lifted more than you've ever lifted before.
Right.
You know, and that sense of community and support is so important. I mean, and I think we're all finding that as we're
Yeah.
not having much of that these days, or at least
Yes.
not in real life. So Jessica, I'm looking at the clock and thinking about our time and appreciating you giving us this time. What are some gifts that you can give, some suggestions or techniques that people can have as a takeaway?
My biggest thing I'd like to suggest for people is to meet themselves where they are, to not, whether they're already working out, they want to work out, or maybe even with just health and nutrition in general, you know, not to take somebody else's goals and try to make them theirs, and not try to set unrealistic goals. And even if they're setting them goals or intentions, but really to come in, and be where they are, like you said, kind of with that group of not being in competition, but just really celebrating a little bit closer to where you want to be. Whether, you know, it doesn't have to be big, so you have to know where you're at. So if you can't lift any weight, lifting a little bit is still that's still progress. So really be honest with where you're at, so that you know where you want to go, and you can celebrate the process along the way. Because if you're stuck thinking that you want to go over here and you're over here, it can feel really disappointing to be here unless you already know that you're here. So that would be my biggest takeaway for whatever endeavor you're doing, actually.
That's a really good point. Because you know, we're so into setting goals and having commitments for the future, but honoring and really celebrating where we're starting from.
Right.
Really,
it changes everything.
And let's see, we were talking before of some of the goodies that you have for folks. So what was it that you had for local folks?
So anyone who's local and is watching this, I'd love to offer for you to come in and do a free class with the group. And we're there 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday evenings, and Saturday mornings. So anyone who wants to reach out and come in, that would be awesome. I would invite you wholeheartedly. And even though it can be slightly intimidating to see a bunch of people lifting weights, the group is really nice and really supportive and welcoming as well. And then for anyone who, either if that doesn't resonate or just isn't in the area, I'd love to offer to do a, what do we call it? Discovery call. So if they would like to just talk about where they're at, or something that they're stuck with, or figuring out where they want to go for those type of things, I would love to offer, you know, a one-on-one Zoom call or FaceTime with them.
Neat. Oh, that sounds perfect. So we're talking about a 15-minute free discovery call, no strings. And if you're local is the Eugene, Springfield, Lane County, Oregon area. Or if you're passing through, some people are traveling now and then.
Yeah, every once in a while I see those people, and that's always really fun.
Exactly. Well, Jessica, thank you so much. This has been such a treat to have you talk about your love, and I learned a lot weightlifting, and I'm still working on my squats, something I need to keep working on.
Thank you so much, Robin. This was really fun.
Oh, good. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
That was such a fun interview. I really enjoyed Jessica. And next, because this program is hosted by Feel So Alive and Feel So Alive Informed, I wanted to talk about gut health for a little bit, because we all know that it's so important to stay healthy all the time, but now it's even more important. So let me get into my notes on gut health and This is so funny. This is supposed to be advancing. There we go. Okay, thanks for your patience on that. So we're looking at the digestive system because our bodies, as we know, all works as a system. But so thinking about the gut in particular, we know that about 70% of our immune system is in our gut. And our gut takes the food that comes in, and then the enzymes in our gut throughout, actually from our mouth to our gut, the enzymes are what is digesting the food to get it out to our body so that we can use it and the nutrients in it. So the question is, how are your enzymes doing? Are they working? We know that a lot of Americans don't produce enough enzymes to digest dairy, and many can't digest whole grains and other foods. And you may be one of those people who's been having digestive issues. So what happens when your gut is not working? So what can happen is bloating, gas, pain, cramps, diarrhea, feeling overstuffed, frequent use of antacids, or you could be lactose intolerant and having all kinds of issues with that. And I think many of us have had some of these feelings, right? Does that sound familiar? Okay, so we know that it's not very fun and that we don't enjoy it. So what is one of the things that you can do to help your stomach, help your gut to digest foods? And one of the things that I just wanted to share with you that I've been doing is introducing plant-based enzymes or digestive enzymes, because as we age, things aren't working quite like they used to. And my go-to product helps with digesting of dairy and proteins and fats and complex carbohydrates. And if that's something that sounds good to you, and if you have that feeling that you may be needing this, would it be worth finding out more about it, is my question to you. And if so, my go-to product is called EasyGest, and it's by Shaklee. And you take it right before the meal, and you can find it on my website, which is shopwithrobin.today, and go to the digestive page. And there's some other choices there. EasyGest is the one I'm talking about that you take right before a meal. We also have something called Stomach, and that will help you, Stomach Complex, I forgot the name for a second, and that will help you in case you didn't take it before and you're feeling a little wonky and your gut needs a little bit of help. So moving on with the program. Our next speaker is Denise Wakeman with Adventures in Invisibility, and she is all about guiding her clients to become more visible online. And for those of us who are entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, and small business people, it's really helpful. She has over 25 years of experience, and she knows her stuff. What tips does this savvy, experienced marketer have to share? Let's find out. Let's bring her video in. Recording. Hi, I'm Robin Forster with Feel So Alive, and my special guest today is Denise Wakeman. Denise, would you like to say hi?
Hi.
Excellent. Thanks, Denise. And for those of you who are watching us on the replay, I just wanted to let you know that I have been following Denise online for years and years before I finally started getting involved with some of her programs. So for those of you who are building businesses online and you're wondering, why is no one coming to me? Where is my tribe? Be patient. It will happen. And Denise today is going to talk to us about how she got started online, and she did this a while ago, so she really knows. So Denise, our first question to you, and I'll be looking down at my questions. First question to you is, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in all of this.
Okay, well, I got involved in online marketing in 1996. Not a lot of people were on the internet at that point, especially as a business tool, and it was out of need, necessary. I had moved to Canada with my soon-to-be husband, and we were living on a 100-acre farm in the middle of nowhere in Ontario. And we wanted to start a coaching business, he wanted to be a coach, and we had to figure out how the heck we were going to get clients. And we had one dial-up line, and so we would fight over the phone. But as soon as I got online, it was like I was at home. I'm an introvert, and I was very happy to just be, dive into the internet. And I just started researching everything I could about how do you do business online. I mean, hardly anybody was. So it was really the pioneers that I was looking towards. So a lot of big name gurus that you hear about sometimes. I mean, I was following them when they got started. And we ended up building a 6-figure coaching business over the course of about 6 years. And we did it all predominantly on the web. So
wow.
that I'm an experimenter. I'm an active experimenter. I love to try things. So that's how I was able to really master what I was doing. The relationship ended. I moved back to Los Angeles, where I'm from, and it was like, do I get a job? No. After running my own business for 6 years, I did get a job for a few months, and then I had to leave because I couldn't take it. And I realized that what I'd done for the business, starting and growing a business with my ex-husband, I could do for myself, and I could do it with other people. I mean, it was just like, oh yeah, I can do this. And I had about 6 months of savings, and I said, well, if I don't get any clients, I'll get a job. I've got 6 months to make a go of it, but I had clients immediately. So I would say I had a lot of experience before that in small businesses. I've always worked in small businesses, running art galleries and running a small bakery and stuff. So I've been in business. I had never been self-employed before that, but now it's been like it's 2021, and that was 1996. That's how long it's been that I've been running an online business.
Yeah, so you've really seen all the changes online and the trends come and go and all of that. And you were talking a little bit before when we were chatting about pivoting and how your businesses have over time kind of grown and changed. And do you want to tell us about that and how that's helped some of your clients?
Well, the thing about online business is that nothing stays the same. I mean, that's life, really. But in the online world, things change really quickly because they're evolving and people are learning more and the technology gets more sophisticated. So it's really, it's important to be open and to embrace that change. I'm a very curious person. As I said, I like to experiment. I like to try things. I don't have any problem, clicking on things, and I don't worry about them breaking. If it doesn't work, I back out of it and click on something else. So I like to bring that to my clients as well, to encourage them to experiment. I mean, some people that they'll be like, oh yeah, I know, I need to experiment. So when they ask me a question, it's like, well, you got to try it, right? Here's something you can try, because you don't know what will work. So I think that, in terms of how it's benefited clients is that it's given many of my clients more confidence to try things, more confidence to take that next step, that it's not, nothing's going to explode. If something doesn't work, then you've learned something and you try something else. And I know that doesn't come naturally to everybody. So being able to be in a safe, supported space to do that, I think has meant a great deal to people. At least that's what they've told me. And I'm also very pragmatic and a how-to person. So it's like, even though I'm a consultant and a mentor, I also really know how to do stuff because I do everything before I tell somebody else to do it. So I'm very good at that. And that is something that I know people appreciate as well, because it gives them the confidence to try it too.
Well, I would agree with all of those statements. Being in your membership group, it's like I do try things because you do talk about that, and I don't mean this as a plug, but AppSumo is something that you have shared with me, and it's funny, but a way to buy software less expensively has revolutionized pieces of my business. I never would have known unless I knew you and I was in your group and you knew that it worked because you tried it. And so then when I asked, you could say, yes, this is great. And I went, oh, well, okay, that's cool.
And to pay only once, a lifetime fee is much better than paying a monthly fee forever, right?
Absolutely. That's something else that I've learned. The community that you've created, I have learned so much about that. So let's make sure that you talk about that before we
Sure.
end. Because,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
my passion project.
Nice.
One of them.
Well, yeah, that's a very good point. Why don't you tell us, the names of your two businesses and
Okay.
between blogging and Peru, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. So, yeah. Blogging. I started blogging in 2004, and that when it was just starting, and it was one of those light bulb moments for me was when I realized that it just totally leveled the playing field between the big guys who could pay thousands of dollars, to a designer to create a website, because websites cost thousands of dollars then to create, because they were all coded and all that stuff. And so blogging platforms came along, and anybody could set up a blog within minutes, literally. May not look great, but they could do it, and they could be publishing their ideas on the web, their ideas, their stories, their message, whatever it was. And that just was probably the biggest revelation in my online experience was that the growth of the self-publishing platforms, not just for me, although it completely changed my business, but for also the people that I worked with, because I pivoted and I taught people about blogging. I had a business partner at the time, and we did everything blogging for business, everything, blogging to create your books, blogging for everything, because nobody knew how to do it. And we jumped on that one so fast, and it was good luck. I don't know, being in the right place, the right time, seeing the opportunity, taking the opportunity. I don't know what it was, but it really catapulted my business in a major way. So.
Oh, how exciting. And
Mm-hmm.
you've been able to share that with your clients,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying new things. And speaking of your clients and looking down at our question, what are some of the tips and suggestions you would give to entrepreneurs, small business folks who are trying to do all the things?
Yeah, trying to do all the things. They're not so much how-to tips, but more about mindset tips, because I think that's where things really start. And the first thing is that you've got to be consistent, and you've got to show up. Without those two things, you are not going to be found. Your visibility will be like being invisible, and if you're invisible, if nobody can find you, it is like you're invisible. So if you have a business, if you do any kind of business, whether it's local, brick and mortar, everybody has a web presence now. And if you don't have one, your business is going to be very difficult to grow. So show up, be very consistent about showing up, and you've got to market your business. And I say that because I had a conversation with somebody yesterday who was like, well, I published lots of blog posts and nobody commented and there was no traffic, and I didn't market them.
Oh.
And and that was kind of it's like, sorry, it's not the field of dreams anymore, and it felt more like that in the beginning days of the internet, but it hasn't been like that for a long time. So you've got to do the work. If you've got a message to share, you've got to do the work to get it out. And the tools that are out there. They're going to change all the time, but they're easy to figure out, or you get help figuring them out, or you go join a community to figure them out, but you got to do the work.
Yeah, I really see that when you said consistent. I was starting to laugh because I've been noticing that I have not been. And I was going to do a Facebook post on how are you being consistent, or something, because I have a feeling I'm not the only one who's not being consistent.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I struggle with it sometimes too,
I just wish there was some magic dust that I could sprinkle, Monday morning and be consistent all week.
Well, the closest we get to that is automated tools that automate, things, but you still got to put in the work to get it together, to make it happen. But,
Yeah, but I think that's an important piece because people don't always know that there's automation for almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a group the other day and they were saying, oh yeah, we'll just reply to all the RSVPs manually. Just send out, And it was like, why would you do that? The chances for problems have increased a lot. But Denise, you've been so kind with your time and so generous, and we're running low. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things you're doing in your membership group?
Okay, my group is called the Marketing Trailblazers Community, and we're celebrating our 3-year anniversary soon. And it's a place for solo professionals, service professionals, coaches, consultants, speakers, trainers, singers, anybody like that can join the community, and it's a place for support. It's a place for brainstorming, for getting coaching, for asking questions, for sharing your experiences, because we all have different experiences, and I'm not the only one who knows what's going on out there. I don't want it to be, the Denise show. And what I love is how generous everybody is. So that's been a real joy to see that grow and evolve over the last 3 years. I'm kind of surprised that it's already been 3 years. So I think you were one of the original members too.
I think pretty close. When you were saying 3 years, I was thinking, well, now isn't that how long I've been involved with it?
Yeah, I think so. I think you were one of the original members, the charter members. So yeah. So the Marketing Trailblazers, it's my passion. I like it.
Well, and I know it's been a real plus to me because you're right. It's a place where you can go and ask questions. Right. And somebody else knows, or someone else has tried it, or someone else is willing to try it in between when you post and when you get a reply. So,
exactly.
Like, oh, good.
Oh, I don't know. I have to go look into that.
Which has been really fun. And then we started talking a little bit about, and I know we're up against it time-wise, you going to Peru and then helping some of the indigenous folks.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to talk about that just like in 2 seconds?
Well, Peru is my heart place, and when I went there for the first time in 2012, I met some great people there, and so I've been going back 4 times now. And if I can support like women business owners, by helping get their products out. I've done that a couple of times where I commissioned them to create things, and then I sold them for them and stuff. So it's I love that, and just kind of connecting on a business to business level rather than just the tourist level.
Well, didn't you have a micro funding going on for a while?
Oh, I still do. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on Kiva. I've had that for 11 years.
Wow.
I have a team, and we've raised over 50, or not raised, but we've made in micro funds, $25 increments, over $50,000.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, Denise, we're at time. Actually, we're over time, but this was so good. It was hard to stop.
Sorry.
No, it's not on you. It's, like we were talking before, you have a lot of information and experience, and trying to do it in 10 minutes is really unfair to you, but I appreciate you being kind enough to try this. Any quick last minute things that you just are burning to say?
Just do it. Oh, no, that's a Nike slogan. Forget that. Show up, share your message. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Wasn't that great? I hope that you got some takeaways from that. Denise is just a fountain of information. And now what I would like to suggest is that you, see if I can pull this up. There we go. Okay. If you want to know when the next program drops, please join us on the second and fourth Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And the next times are going to be April 8th and 22nd. Or like us or follow us on Facebook. And don't forget to, if you're watching us on YouTube, to go ahead and subscribe and to click the bell so that you get the notifications. So you'll know exactly when our next one drops. And I do have the comments on, but I don't think anybody knows. So next time I'll post something so that you all will know. And if you want to reach out to me, please do. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, or you can email me. So thank you very much, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on the replay. We appreciate your time. And as a solo entrepreneur who's trying to do all and be all, this is my gift to you to make your life just a little bit easier. Thanks, and take care.